Hey there, I'm Benjinator12, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the 1 to 144 scale Takemikazuchi. Don't quote me on that pronunciation, guys. I don't know. Type 00F from Kotobukiya's Love 1 to 144 scale lineup. So, yeah, this is going to be pretty different. You know, Kotobukiya is one of Bandai's biggest competitors. And this is a line of 1 to 144 scale snap fit model kits of giant robots. You know, this is clearly intended to shoot downrange at Bandai. So a lot of this review will be in a sort of comparative sense, comparing it to what Bandai gives us with their high-grade models. So let's take a look. Alright. To give you some backdrop on the Love series, it's started out as light novels, but it got this adaptation called Love Alternative that focused on the giant robot aspects of it. It's very important in the context of modern anime because it's kind of defined a sort of genre of series where the protagonists are humanity as a whole, fighting against mysterious and strange enemies from somewhere else. We don't understand how they work. They're more powerful than us, and so in order to defeat them, we need special weaponry. And there's always a sense of encroaching dread. Love has actually been cited as one of the major influences on Attack on Titan, and there's actually a couple call-outs you can see. I'll point it out. I'll point it out as we go through the review. But what you need to know is things like Attack on Titan itself, Knights of Sidonia, what's that other one? Cabaneri. All kind of owe some of their existence to Love here. So it's groundbreaking in that way. It's also gotten a lot of acclaim for its mech designs. These are called tactical surface fighters, not mobile suits, but tactical surface fighters. And they're all airplane themed. As you can see, they've got these really extremely angular, extremely aggressive designs with really thin waists, really broad shoulders, and always these wing packs that hang off of the waist. Just like you would see 3D maneuver gear do in Attack on Titan, actually. So they're very visually stunning, and so I'm really glad that somebody out there makes model kits of these. I believe there are some Revoltech figures of them, and Kotobukiya also makes a line of non-scale kits of the tactical surface fighters that are larger, so you're not without options if you want a design of this in your house. But this is the kind of cheap way to go, is the 1 to 144 scale, and also because that's identical to a Gundam kit, I figured that'd be a good place to start. Alright, so now to actually take a look at the kit itself. Kotobukiya, they make a lot of model kits. They make the frame arms line, which could also be seen as sort of a direct competition to the master grade kits that Bandai makes, because they have inner frames. They also make the Zoids high-end master model lineup, which I have built one. I've built the Liger Zero, and that is a fantastic kit. But one thing that I can say from every Kotobukiya kit I've built so far, and I guess this is the third one, is that it's really clear to see that Kotobukiya doesn't quite have the same grasp of model kit engineering that Bandai does. There are so many ways that Bandai can do things just more efficiently, more effectively, with less. And we'll see that as we continue here. But to start off with the color and paint applications, first of all, what you see here has been heavily, I wouldn't really say painted, but I've done a lot of detail work on this. My Gundam Marker Fine lining one got an absolute workout. So there are images out there of this thing without any paint on it, and I have to say, it's phenomenally ugly. So many details on this need to be picked out. the lines that you're seeing all throughout the torso, there, in this collar vents, this entire black section here. Let's see. These little details on the arms. Some of the thin lines in here. The lines on the calves. These dark vents on the back here. All of that, and now of course all the details, little details on the head there, all of that is done in with an ultra fine tip panel lining marker. Those are normally just stock, you know, the yellow that it comes with, and I have to say it's really not very visually appealing. It's coupled with this clear purple. This is a plastic that you get, and there is some of it, but there's not enough. There are several parts on here that are supposed to be a shade of purple that I think should have been molded in a purple, but were not. These dark places here, those are supposed to be purple, not. So that's why I just lined them in. But as you can see, it also appears here on the legs, and it's not bad in and of itself. I think it does the job. But without lining it, it's really not going to stand out against this sea of yellow. And I can't imagine how much worse the purple variation of this, which is the 00 some other letter, I can't imagine how bad that one must be with the darker color to contrast against it. It must be even worse. Let's see here. These spots on the feet, right down here. I'll bring that in closer. These spots on the feet, and these here on these wing jet engine units on both sides. These are painted in with Gundam marker Xeon Dark Gray, just because that would cover more area quickly. But as you can see, and the inside of the hands as well, if you see in there, those I lined in myself. They're supposed to be dark. Now, normally in a Bandai kit, you know, first of all, color separation would be a little better off the get-go. They would probably, you know, have these little lines here would be an opening that the purple piece would go into, creating more, you know, area for definition. They would probably have these dark parts on the feet or on the engines here be in black plastic. So first of all, that's a mark against it, is that, you know, Bandai would have had that represented in color. But furthermore, Bandai would have included a sheet of stickers. This has no stickers. No stickers at all. And while normally, you know, I'd rather not to have to put a lot of stickers on my kit, if it needs it, I'd like that it would have them. And unfortunately, this has none of them. You have to supply that yourself. So that's a mark against the kit's engineering just on a color level. And we're not even to the articulation and stuff. But we're about to be there. So in terms of presentation, if you line it up, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty darn great, actually. I mean, my marker work here is pretty sloppy. But still, with all these lines and fine details picked out, it really helps highlight the aggressive appearance. But you're going to have to do it yourself. Moving on to articulation. The head is mounted on a ball joint. It is very, very, very finicky, likes to pop off, but it can go about that far to the right, that far to the left. I had to glue everything on the head together to keep it from all just crumbling apart in my hand. It pops off extremely easy, but there's lots of space on there for panel lining and details. I mean, I know a lot of people are really into panel lining and detailing their kits. I'm more of a, how much can I get out of a scratch build kind of thing, or not scratch build, but you know, straight out of the box. And this definitely doesn't fit that bracket. For the arms, as you can see, they can raise up that much. They're mounted into a ball socket in the torso here, which is then mounted on another hinge, so it can go forwards and back. Then the ball socket there can rotate on, and you get that much lift. Now, take a look at the construction of the arm here. If you're familiar with these kits already, you might know that I am missing parts, or rather they're not on. That's right, I have this is incomplete technically. There is a piece that is supposed to go right here, and I have it. Here it is. This is what it looks like. Now there's two things I had wrong with this part. One, it needed me to panel line in all these little bits here purple. I don't have purple panel lining. There's no way I could have done that with a Gundam marker. I don't have a purple Gundam marker. There's no way I could have made that, I could have filled that in. So one, it looks kind of ugly. But two, let's put it in. It goes right here. Just clamp it into the shoulder there. Actually helps beef it up, makes it look bulky and nice. But as soon as you do that, you have killed almost all of your bicep swivel. Watch this. Look. Listen, you can even hear it colliding there. That's pitiful. It's really pitiful. And that's another reason I would compare it to Bandai. Bandai would have found a way to not only preserve this design and have it have that extra bulk there, which, by the way, does also limit the amount it can rise up, but also, you know, have it still maintain its articulation. Like, they could have mounted that to a swivel up there, so it could have slid out of the way with the arm and still sat against it when it was down, but nope. Here it's an extra piece that completely gets rid of a swivel. As you can see, without that, you get a full bicep twist, more or less. But it just feels like, not an oversight, but it would have been handled better by somebody else. Now, the upper body here, I'm going to pull off the arm again to give you a better look into this. It's on a couple different joints. It's got a hinge up here that lets it rock back and forth. Oh my goodness. This is just, it's two different joints. There's a ball joint down here that lets it go all over the place. All over the place. But there's also a hinge up here in the torso, which does work. It goes. Oh my goodness. It's coming apart. That's another thing about Kotobukiya kits versus Bandai. The plastic tolerances. Bandai kits hold together way better. Let's see. Rocks up and down up there, but also has a ball joint down here. Leg and waist articulation. First of all, you can use this as a full swivel. You can get 360 degrees as long as the arms are out of the way. No problem. Which is nice for some dynamic poses, especially since you're not going to have a bicep swivel to work with. You can at least get the torso swiveling around. For the legs, these are your front skirts here. They are on a little hinge. They can get up out of the way that far, but because they're mounted down in front of where these big thighs are, they still get in the way. They still get in the way. So this is about all the further forward you're going to get. But you can get pretty darn far back. These are double jointed knees that can give you almost 180 degrees. Oh my gosh, I gotta get this guy out of the way. There you go, you can see that there. The feet are interesting. They're not on any kind of ball joint. They're not ball jointed. They are on a fixed kind of peg in there that's sort of pegged in at a couple spots. And what it does have is it has a tilt and a really deep ankle rocker. So you can get fantastically wide poses, about as wide as you can get on the ball joints before these thighs collide up here. You can get really wide stances, but you can't turn the foot side to side at all. And so you don't know what you have till it's missing, you know? These are the engine pods, and they are mounted on a just a peg right in there. That's on a polycap, I believe. Yep, peg in there, swivel here, and then another peg in there, which means it swivels out here, in there, and then there. So with some fiddling, they can get in the way or out of the way, however much you want. It's really pretty adequate. Personally, I would have gone with ball joints instead. But, you know, oh my gosh, look at these nasty seam lines opening up. Everything about this kit reminds you pretty much all the time that it's not made by Bandai, which, I mean, this sounds like absolute brand favoritism, but the fact of the matter is Bandai has a lot more experience making smaller, smarter kits than Kotobukiya does. Kotobukiya, they're good at sharp molding, they're good at, you know, really high levels of detail, but they're not so great at applying that on a smaller scale. They're not. And then, let's see, I think the only thing left is these guys back here. These are like weapon pods that help store the weapons, which we'll get to very soon. And they are just pegged in. They swivel left and right and fall out. Of course, left, right, fall out. Great, great. It's just great, you know? Just, in all seriousness, no. This articulation is okay. It's strong at a lot of points, but hampered by the design. And, again, like, these bicep swivels, that's sad. That's just kind of, that makes me sad. I always saw pictures of these things posing, and always thought, oh wow, that looks kind of weird and awkward. I wonder why. I couldn't put my finger on it. But now I understand. It's because of all these kind of just halfway limitations. For our accessories, they're pretty decent. First off, we've got some rifles here. Whoa. Some rifles. And these are pretty cool looking. They look kind of like an FNP90 a little bit, if you're into that kind of ambidextrous, you know, bullpup grip style. They're pretty tight. You get two of these guys, and you can peg them into the larger weapon pod back here using a little tab built into it. And they actually slot in there great. No problems. To fit it into the hand, though, you have to kind of do a little wang-jangling. Check this out. You pull out the entire grip, then you remove the hand. Now, the hand is just mounted straight onto a peg on there, which means it can rotate a little bit, and it can wiggle front and back, but not any in-between. What they want you to do is slide it right in over that, and then close it back up. Now, this works theoretically. I mean, it works also in practice, but you will notice right away it's very floppily in there. A lot of times it sort of just slides down in the hand. Like, look at this. This is kind of sad. The grip on this is extremely loose. The other major weapon included as an accessory is the Type 74 close-in weapon system. In the real world, close-in weapon systems are Gatling guns that shoot down missiles. But in Muvlov's world, if I can focus it here, Type 74, says it right there, they are swords. And they're pretty cool looking. I like the way this looks. I think it fits well with the design. It's got good size, it's dynamic, but watch what happens as soon as you get it into the hand. Look at that. It's so loose. It's so loose and floppy. It's slipping out of the hand from me just putting it in there. Look. That's terrible. That's terrible. Putting in any kind of dynamic pose, just, it's about to fall out. And so, to remedy this, I took the other sword that comes with the kit and wrapped a little bit of tape around it to see if I could get it to have a tighter grip. And, it's not a visually great option. I just wanted to see theoretically would it work, and then maybe I could paint over it. And that means it can kind of... I've got it fit in there before. Today it's fighting me. Today it's fighting me, and it's too thick. Oh, there it goes. It's kind of bunching up, but now it's nice and tight in the hand. Looks really dumb. Yeah, it's bunching up and the tape's coming off. See, not a good solution. So I guess you would have to use one of those kind of super glue or varnish options to tighten up that grip by adding mass. But you don't want to do that like right out of the box. It's sad that the accessories just kind of don't work right out of the box. The final accessory is an open hand. It's this great clawing shape. These TSFs have some scary looking hands. And as you can see, I've painted the bottom with Gundam marker Xeon Dark Gray. And again, just like we showed earlier, pull the hand right off, put it in there. It actually looks really good in there. I'll say this is like the one accessory that works exactly as it's intended to the first time. This kit, I tell you, it's Bandai knows they've been making model kits long enough. I'm transitioning into my verdict here, I guess. Bandai has been making model kits long enough that they know how to make a model kit that really is part display, part toy. You know, it's 50-50. The problem with Kotobukiya is that they're chasing Bandai in making these things, and it's out of their comfort zone. Because this, I could describe this as a model kit. If Bandai's toy is 50% model and 50% toy, then this is 75%, you know, display model, 25% toy. It's compromised in a much more obvious way than a Bandai kit is. It's not to say that it's bad, and it's not to say that there aren't, like, Gundam kits that are, you know, like, worse than this, because I think I've experienced some Gundam kits, some actual Bandai Gundam kits that are worse than this. But you can really tell when you're building it, when you're posing it, when you're painting it, that there are compromises here that Bandai, you know, would have done differently. So, would I recommend this to a casual fan interested in the mech design alone, not a big fan of Muv-Luv? No. I would say look into the non-scale. Since it's a bigger kit, Kotobukiya probably did a smarter job there. Or look into the Revoltex, you know, pre-painted. You can guarantee that there's going to be good articulation there. If you're someone who is a fan of Muv-Luv and, you know, also has some Gundams, you know, this might be worth a look. If you're into painting, if you really like fun painting jobs or something that looks dramatically different, this is a pretty solid pick. But again, if you're someone who's looking for a kit that's fun to build but then fun to play with, this is not it. This is not it, and I can't recommend it on that. So there you have it. I was really eager to do this review because there aren't a huge amount of reviews for these specific kits out there, and the ones that I did find are fairly old. So I wanted to try something that could have a little bit sharper video quality. Of course, that just lets you see how bad my painting is. But you know what? That's okay. Until next time, this is Benchinator12 signing off. See you guys later.